person next to you say, hey, you look good, but I look a whole lot better. Go ahead, let me know. Sometimes you gotta let them know. Anyone that doesn't want to stand in the back, feel free. There's a couple seats up here in the front, so I'd rather see beautiful faces in the front than dark shadows in the back. So anyone that wants it, feel free. Guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. As you guys heard earlier, tonight is not about the challenge. Tonight is about the business vehicle of the challenge, which is different. Hopefully you watched the video of the challenge prior to showing up. You definitely heard some stories. You know, there's like 800-pound losers in this room. There's not a question of whether or not the challenge works. It's pretty well documented on that. Now we just want to figure out who is the business vehicle for. And some people it's for, some people it's not for, and that's completely okay. Let me give you my quick backstory. My name is Nick Sarnicole. I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I got a very blue-collar, middle-class upbringing. So all four of my grandparents had worked at the same factory called Steelcase. My dad worked there, my uncles worked there, my brothers worked there, my cousins worked there. So I didn't know what I was going to be, quote-unquote, when I grew up, but I knew what I wasn't going to be. And I wasn't going to be working there. Like, I had made up my mind. I always daydreamed as a kid that I was going to be rich one day. Any of you guys as a kid ever daydream when you're 8, 9, 10 years old about being rich one day? I mean, as a kid, we don't daydream about being, middle class, right? We're not 9 years old going, look, I really hope that, we just can pay our bills when we get older. It's like, I'm going to be an astronaut, I'm going to be the president, the astronaut, the rich, rock star, all at the same time somehow. That's what you say when you're 9 or 10 years old. So I looked at, the options, because I wasn't raised in a wealthy family, so I didn't know about the real option. I looked at the option and said, okay, I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't act, I can't play an instrument. There's already one white rapper in Michigan. I'm not going to do anything illegal, so that leaves sports. So I went on and played college baseball, and while I was playing college baseball, I was introduced to the number one way that financial success is created for all people, which is entrepreneurship. And I said, man, that makes sense. I can't believe they didn't teach me this stuff in school. I was blown away they didn't teach this stuff in school. So I became an entrepreneur. I fell in love with the idea of becoming an entrepreneur. And I learned that really there's two types of people that become an entrepreneur. Number one is somebody that just has a burning desire. Like me, like I told you my story, I wanted something big. I had big dreams, right? Any big dreamers out there? Those people become entrepreneurs. Then there's a second group of people who found their way to entrepreneurship through frustration. They became highly frustrated with their job, highly frustrated with their boss, highly frustrated, maybe they liked the job of their boss, but with how much money they made, or their free time. Or maybe they were so frustrated with the voice of the person they sit next to every single day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, year in and year out, that they snapped and became an entrepreneur, right? So frustration also creates entrepreneurs, and it happens all the time. I found out that there's 3 ways that you can become an entrepreneur. Bobby, can I have you move this closer to here if you got that extension? Thank you. The 3 ways that you can become an entrepreneur are you can start a traditional business. There's probably a lot of traditional business owners in the room today. You got to come up with your own idea, you got to come up with your own system, and then you got to fund that idea and system, and 9 out of 10 times expect failure. 9 out of 10 traditional businesses fail in their first 3 years. So the second way to become a business owner is to start a franchise, or buy a franchise, which is the idea of buying someone else's idea and system, which they work at a much higher ratio. Problem is, they're a heck of a lot more expensive because they're proven to work. So that's why a good franchise is $250,000 to $3-4 million. McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, Quiznos, you name it. These are all very expensive franchises. And then the third option, since I didn't have a couple mil laying around when I was 18, was direct selling. And I immediately fell in love with this third option. The reason why? Low barrier to entry. Low barrier to entry. You can start with a good direct selling company from $500 to $5,000 and you're in business. Number 2 is you can do it on your spare time. You can't start a Subway and do it on your spare time outside your career. Like, you're running the Subway. Like, you're the guy making the sandwiches. You'll know, because you go to Subway one time or Quiznos, and there'll be one person there that doesn't fit in. And they'll have like a gold watch on and some nice rings. You're like, you own this place, don't you? And they're making the sandwiches, right? And then so I didn't have. That's why I do like direct selling, is because you get the opportunity to do it on your part-time spare time. I also fell in love with it because of the fact that there's somebody there to teach you. Which when you start your own business, there's nobody there to teach you. In fact, it's the opposite. You can't call a neighboring restaurant and be like, what's working for you guys? And like, that's not going to work out. So when you begin to combine all these ideas of, all right, low barrier to entry, you can do it part-time, spare time, you can have somebody to teach you, coach you, mentor you. So these are things that really add up. This is why I got started in direct selling when I was 18 years old. I didn't have immediate success at it because I needed to learn the business. I learned the business, and then it started to be successful. So by the time I was 22, I was making $10,000 a month. So that's 4 years later, though. By the time I was 23, so for Brandon, it took me 2 years to do that. It took me 4 years to do that. No, it took me 5 years to do what Brandon did too. By year 5, I was making $25,000 to $30,000 a month. Anytime you can make more in thousands per month than you are old, that's a great month. Especially when you get to be Joe's age. The last testimony night is a really good month. It's like 50 grand a month, Joe. That's a good month. I moved from Grand Rapids, Michigan to Southern California because I developed this strange allergy to snow. And the more resources you have, the more allergies you develop. How many of you guys are getting pretty allergic to snow, by the way? Right? We need to get you another income stream here. So I moved to California, and it was a great lifestyle. I lived 2 houses from the water in Huntington Beach from Pacific Ocean. I'd walk down to the water every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., 8:30 in the morning, specifically at that time on those days. I did it specifically. And I go down and I touch my toes in the water and say, today I beat the system Monday. I come back the next day, today I beat the system Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I never knew, 15 years later or so, that there'd be hundreds of people, if not thousands, that take that exact quote and post it every single day because of a decision I had made 18 years prior, right? I'm 36 now. So, that point in my life, it was amazing. You could look to the left, you could look to the right. There was nobody for miles. Where was everybody at 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday? Working, right? It was just me and a couple homeless guys. We were high-fiving the whole time. Like, yes, it's our beach. It's our territory. So, everyone who didn't know me at that time in my life automatically assumed one of two things. Like, all right, he's at the beach every day, he makes a lot of money, drives a nice car, he's young, doesn't seem to go to work. He's either a rich kid, because there's a lot of rich kids in Orange County, California. It's the Mecca. And if he's not a rich kid, then he has to be a what? No, supermodel. He has to be a supermodel. Come on, guys. Hey, it's a tough crowd out here. Just kidding. So, I've been telling that joke for years, by the way. And I've now told it in 13 different countries. 13 different countries I've now told that joke. And most of those countries through translation. And still to this day, nobody's yelled out supermodel. Like sometimes with the translator, I'm hopeful, like, did they say supermodel? Like, no, sir, they said drug dealer. I did have one 80-year-old grandma yell out gigolo one time. Well, drug dealer, gigolo. So, anyways. At that point in my life, like I said, everyone thought it was one of those two things. And at first, that frustrated me. It frustrated me. Then I realized they didn't have a problem with me. They had a problem with what they were taught. Because what they were taught since they were this age is that type of success is either done illegally or given to them because it's just not what? Possible. That's not possible. That's not possible. So from that point forward, my partners and I created a company to find other hungry individuals that wanted to turn, impossible into possible, or knew that there was a possibility out there, but just didn't know the path. And we started the company 10 years ago. My wife and I have earned tens of millions of dollars in this style of marketing. I share that with you because I want you to know you have a credible, viable source in front of you to speak intelligently on the subject of the topic of direct selling. But 10 years ago, when I was 26 and now 36, my partners and I created Buy. And the reason why we created Buy Solace is, we saw an opportunity. The opportunity was to take an industry that is a great concept of giving people an opportunity to start a home-based business. That's a great idea. But to make it modernized, to make it new, to make it fresh, to make it something that was brought into this century. So it wasn't something that was archaic and something that a lot of these companies hadn't, until we came, hadn't changed their practices since 1980. It was just old school, right? So we brought fresh thinking, fresh marketing. We brought it into today's generation. right? The direct selling industry was never really looked at as the cool thing to do, right? You know, there was never like the Tupperware guy that walked to the front of the line at the restaurant like, hey, you got my table? I'm the Tupperware guy. You know, this never happened before, right? And it was more like this. Hey, don't tell anyone, but I'm selling Tupperware, and I've got some in the trunk if you need some Tupperware, right? There was no one was ever like, you know, I'm doing the cool thing called Tupperware. And we just made it just a thing that was fun, a thing that was edgy, a thing that people were proud to be a part of. We took an industry that had a good idea, a lot of times mistreated, definitely archaic, and we brought it into today's modern, you know, generation and today's day and age. We've been really successful with it. We've got the #1 weight loss and fitness challenge in the world today. Every day, thousands of people in 13 different countries make the decision just to get on the challenge and to have some sort of transformation, and which is our passion. But how we got to that point is through startup, home-based entrepreneurs. We find people that are frustrated or big dreamers that want to do something small or do something big, and we give them a platform that they go create transformations for people and make money. Created 18,000 BMW qualifiers. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. 800 six-figure a year income earners like Brandon. There's 800 of them floating around. And 52 millionaires now in the last, just the last 5 years we've been able to do that. So we've got a great track record. It's been a fantastic journey. So what is our overall strategy, right? What's the #1 thing that we're focused on? #1 thing that we're focused on with the strategy is we will become the greatest, most successful company in history to create transformations. That's why we are in business. We're not in business to sell people a business. But we do that because that's how we get to our transformations. It's not our #1 goal. A lot of companies in this industry, their #1 goal is to sell people a business. Not our #1 goal. #1 goal is transformations. Whether we have more entrepreneurs or less entrepreneurs than another company is irrelevant to us. We want more transformations. Because a transformation, once you experience it in business, it's addicting. There's not many things that you can totally change the way a person feels about themselves, which in turn changes everything and every interaction that they have. You change the way a person feels about themselves, you change every interaction that they have. That's what we do for a living. You change their communication, you change their energy levels, you change their productivity at work, you change their parenting, you change their love life, you change everything. And that's what we get to do from a business perspective. So from a feeling perspective, it feels really good. But also from a business perspective, it's a smart thing to do. You know, the idea of, say, obesity is a new idea. I mean, 100 years ago, there was no word obesity. There was no diabetes. None of this stuff existed, right? There's been some drastic, radical shifts and changes over the last 100 to 150 years. #1, in the way we move, aka exercise. Exercise really wasn't a word 100, 150 years ago either. And #2, in what we eat. Most people, up until 100 to 150 years ago, human beings never had to choose to exercise. They never chose, they never had to make a decision to do something physical. Because all throughout humanity, tens of thousands of years, you had to do something physical to survive. You had to hunt, you had to plant, you had to harvest, you need to chop wood, you need to chase things, you need to run from things, you need to put a fence up, you need to build shelter. I mean, you were always on the move. And then, you know, big corporate business was created, which is great. There's nothing wrong with moving people out of careers that require them to do something physical. But the problem is, they're not offsetting the immobility with mobility. And it makes sense because it's not even in our DNA to choose to exercise. Exercise is a survival mechanism. We've always exercised to survive. Now we don't need to. So we're in a really funky place as a species. Because now we're like, all right, let me get this straight. You want me to choose to stand on this platform and move my feet for no real apparent survival instinct. Just move my feet on this thing. This is what you want me to do. I got all kinds of stuff to do, but you just want me to stand here and move my feet on this thing. That's a treadmill, by the way, if you guys want. And then after that, you want me to grab these large, heavy objects, and you want me to move them. I'm not going to save a life. I'm not going to eat. I can't eat this thing. I'm just going to move these things for no real apparent survival instinct. It's against our genetic code. It doesn't even make sense to you. It's counterintuitive, which is why most of you don't exercise. But back in the day, we didn't need gym memberships. The grand majority of every human being on earth, what did they do 100, 150 years ago? They all did what? Yell it out. They all farmed. They all farmed. I mean, I know nobody farms out here in these parts. The Central Valley, I mean, nobody farms out here. Yeah, they all farmed for a living. Did you know at the end of a farming day, one farmer never called another farmer and said, "Hey Joe, is it back day today or legs day today?" when you're a farmer, every day is what? Back day, and every day is leg day. Every single day is. So now here's the weird part, is that's only 20% of how you look. The exercise regimen is only 20%. We think it's bigger, but it's not. How you look is actually a representation of 80% of what you consume. What you consume. And we used to eat cleanly. We used to grow our own food. Even if you weren't a farmer, you grew your own food. Right? You had your own little veggie patch, and you had your own little fruits, and you had a little pig, maybe a cow, you got your milk from your cow, and when you wanted chicken, you killed the chicken outside, right? You didn't go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, you grabbed a hatchet and you got the chicken, right? That's how you used to eat, or not us, but our great-great-grandparents. That's how they ate. So they ate clean. Now, most people are busy. Raise your hand if you're busy. I run into people, what do you do for a living? I don't work right now, but I'm busy, real busy. Everybody's busy. Number two, is they're strapped financially. People are busy, they're strapped financially. Number three, is they're addicted to taste. That's a fact. People are busy, broke, and addicted to taste. That is a recipe for fast food and junk food. If you're busy, broke, and addicted to taste, which most people are, you will always eat fast food and junk food. Why? Because it solves three of your problems. Now. Cheap. Yum. Right? Now, healthy people are like, that stuff doesn't taste good. No, it tastes amazing. You just reprogrammed your brain to associate pain to eating it. Let's get real here. If it came down to it, if a French fry and a carrot stick had the exact same nutritional value, French fry, carrot stick, same nutritional value. Who's eating the French fry 9 out of 10 times? All day. So it tastes better. Now, when people are consuming junk foods and fast foods all day long, it is inevitable. The issue that we have today is inevitable. So this is the problem as a company that we're solving. So I'm not talking to you as a consumer right now. Hopefully hopefully all of you guys get as a consumer, you probably should not eat junk food and fast food all the time. We can help you with that. But I'm talking to you as a business person. If everyone is busy, broke, and addicted to taste, and everyone is turning to junk food and fast food, we might have a good business marketplace. Right. As a company, if we could be a company that provides healthy fast foods. So what we're doing as a company is we're creating healthy fast foods, drinks, and snacks. That's what we do. We're building a menu. It's going to take us another few years to add as many items as we can to the menu, but we're building a menu. And we say, hey, instead of the Egg McMuffin and hash brown, have a chocolate peanut butter shake. Hey, instead of the Snickers, have a meal replacement chocolate chip cookie. Hey, instead of the Doritos, have the Fiesta Nut Mix. And we're just swapping out. Hey, instead of the Mountain Dew, have a Neon. Is this a trick? Never put an open Neon next to 6 other open Neons. No, another one. Okay. Let's put that over there. Somebody keep an eye on that for me. So I just want to look like the can of someone else's can, All right. Healthy meal replaces energy drinks and snacks. So as a company, this is what we do. All we do is swap out those things. And some of you guys are like, well, that's it? Why don't you just tell them to eat healthy? How's that going so far? I mean, come on. Doesn't everybody know what they should and shouldn't be eating? Doesn't everybody know? Yes or no? Yes. Everybody knows. We just don't do it. That's where the challenge comes in. Now, I don't mean the challenge is the problem. I mean the challenge is the marketing platform. I get people all the time, the experts of experts. Well, I'm an expert in this, I'm a nutritionist. That's great. But you're terrible at marketing, so you've got 2 customers. I've got 3 million. So the challenge, what it is a platform. The challenge is a platform, right? I meet these experts all the time. Well, did you know I have my bachelor's degree in this and that? I'm like, oh yeah, how many customers you got? 6. I got 3 million. Your marketing's terrible. So people need to be marketed to. We have the best marketing platform in the world to get people to choose healthy foods, drinks, and snacks. That's it. The challenge gets them to make a decision that for the next X amount of months, for the next X amount of pounds, I'm going to drink this shake, eat this healthy cereal, eat this cookie.